everyone, and welcome back. It's super bright out here today and I've got the sunglasses on. The sun's shining in quite nice here, but the one thing that's nice about these polycarbonate panels is they are UV rated, so they do block out a lot of that harmful light. And myself with very sensitive eyes, I definitely find it a lot easier in the dome than I do outside. I go outside, my eyes are just gonna be tearing up and watering, so that's one thing that I absolutely do love about the greenhouse. Got myself a good old Timmy's coffee and some notes here. So today we're going to talk about our spring garden checklist, specifically for Alberta Zone 3. This year it's a huge bonus. We have this dome set up here, which is amazing. Even a 3-season greenhouse can help you out so much. But the last 9 years, and I mean we've really only been gardening pretty hardcore the last 5. But I've never had the greenhouse until this year. So we've always started things like seedlings in our garage and the house. So yeah, I'm gonna focus more on that and the spring garden prep minus the 4-season greenhouse, even though we're sitting in here. So number 1, buy your seeds. Make a checklist and decide what you wanna grow. If you're a newer gardener, I suggest you start with your basics, the things you're actually going to use. Do the potatoes, the carrots, the beets, radishes, peas, all that kind of stuff. But if you don't eat radishes, then don't grow radishes. Eventually, if you want to try out some different crop, like your different squashes and pumpkins and stuff, that's great. Onions, go ahead and do it. I like to try and keep it simple. We plant garlic. We use a lot of garlic. We plant dill because I use a lot of dill. We plant 2 different types of cucumbers. I plant my pickling cucumbers because we do a lot of preserving and canning and making pickles. And I plant my long, tasty green or English style cucumbers. A few years I did what would you call those? The farmer style cucumbers, and I wasn't the biggest fan of them. So yeah, number 1, buy seeds, make a checklist. You can even save seeds from previous years and let them dry out and reuse them. Be mindful when you get into your squash varieties. They like to cross-pollinate or do whatever their thing is, and you might end up with some really funky looking squash. I did one year, and hey, gardening's all about experience and learning and fun and experimenting. So another very important thing I do before the snow even starts to melt is I draw up a diagram. How can I utilize my space? I look into companion planting, what vegetables grow good with other vegetables and which ones don't. As the snow melts, I will start to clean up the garden. I don't do a lot of my perennials, the things that come back every year, like my chives and my berries and all that. I don't do any pruning like that in the fall. I usually do it all in the spring when it's warm enough and it's done freezing and I see the little green tips coming up out of the soil from my garlic. I will remove all the straw off of it. I put straw on my garlic, our hardneck garlic, for winter, and we plant in the fall. I then start to work the soil, and I do soil tests in my beds. Just see kind of what's lacking in nutrients, what I need to add, because remember, every time you grow something, it's gonna steal nutrients from the soil. Some plants will put stuff back in. And then you gotta look at planting your seeds. So there's certain things like tomatoes, peppers, lots of your flowers and herbs. I start inside usually in about February, March, somewhere in there, and end of February for sure. A lot of the things like your root vegetables, so your carrots, your beets, your potatoes, all that kind of stuff, they have a fairly long growing season. They can even withstand a little tiny bit of frost, like maybe not so much the potatoes, but carrots, I usually even leave them in the ground for the first frost. Makes them really sweet and it's not going to harm them at all. So a lot of those seeds are just sown in ground when the soil is workable, and I know we're in the clear of our frost season. And usually Zone 3 Alberta, May long weekend is usually a safe bet, like the 3rd weekend of May. But that being said, I've seen frost dates well into June 4th and 5th, so keep that in mind. And of course, frost I've seen as early as August 21st, 22nd, and as late as the end of September. So again, some of my stuff, I save old bed sheets and I use that stuff to cover either my seedlings or my plants in the fall if I want to keep them in the garden a little bit longer. So yeah, I guess my 5 easy step checklist would be buy seeds, check your collection, start and germinate certain seeds, draw a diagram and plan your garden out, utilize all that space in companion planting, clean up your garden, mend the soil, and soil test, all kind of in the same thing there. After that, if you have to add any stuff into your soil, and your garden's good to go. So then you transplant stuff, like I said, after that frost date out into your garden and sow those seeds. The rest of them, like I said, my squash, all my squash varieties, my pumpkins, cucumbers, peas, radish, carrot, broccolis, cauliflowers, all of those. I just sow in garden. The only things that really start early are like some herbs, flowers, tomatoes, peppers. This year I've started some bean plants, but I've never really grown too many of the beans either. So, and I do like pickled beans. And then as far as my non-vegetable garden stuff, like perennials, and my perennial beds out in front of my house and stuff, things like lilies, irises, again, I don't clean any of that off in the fall. I just let it all die back. I wait well into the spring when things have warmed up. All the ladybugs and just beneficial bugs like to go in those plants and shelter in. We even do a little bit of a last cut on our yard, keep it quite short and allow some leaves to stay in our yard on the grass. I know some people frown upon that. You've got to pick up every last little leaf, but we found that over the years, the less like maintaining we've done of certain things on our property, the more beneficial bugs and birds and butterflies and wildlife that have come to our property. So I'd like to think that we're creating a nice ecosystem here on our 4 acres. More than I ever had growing up in my own backyard when it came to all the wildlife. So we're teaching our girls and doing a lot along with it. All right, everybody, let's head outside. Bright and sunny today. It is 0 degrees Celsius and we're officially reaching spring solstice. So March 20th here. We still have quite a bit of snow going on. It's still pretty white out there, but it is, it feels nice. I can feel the heat in the sun today. So let's just go and talk about a few things outside in our garden. So this is what I'm talking about with like the lilies and stuff. I just let them all die off like this. And then once it warms up, I pull all these out and pull all this back and you'll see the new growth coming up underneath. But yeah, these are like hollow inside. And I've found that a lot of ladybugs like to winter down in here. So yeah, I let those guys just hang out till it's warm enough because ladybugs are beneficial. This area is a mess. This was all dug up last year for running the gas lines for the dome, for that backup gas we got on top of the wood stove. So yeah, this is all a mess, work in progress. For our outside garden, we have some strawberries wintered down in there. This area we have some hardneck garlic. I don't want to pull. I mean, it's pretty covered in there and it's still iced in, so we're gonna leave that. But this is what I'm talking about for garden prep. So I do fall and spring garden prep. These are the purple bean plants, the Royal Burgundy from West Coast Seeds. One other thing I do for spring garden prep is let's start cleaning out that freezer. I want to get my deep freeze right cleaned out so that when I start harvesting the garden for this year, I have a nice clean deep freeze and I can fill it full. I'm just going through the last of the tomatoes. This is literally like my second last bag. It's literally just like stewed tomatoes, undrained, like seeds and all in bags. And I am making some Mexican soup tonight and some tacos. So it's actually really simple. I just use like the tomatoes, I use taco spice, I put some green, split green peas and lentils and corn and chili peppers and cooking up some hamburger. One thing I love about our local like 4-H cows, just like I said, even if you get a chance to have a farmer close by that you know, I find it's like super just good tasting beef. Way better than the store-bought, that's for sure. In the future, we plan on doing a lot of video footage to do with homesteading, gardening, chickens, preserving. We very much will still do our exploring, like our camping and stuff. We're a family. Those will be in there as well. But a majority of our content going forward is very much going to be your homesteading content for Alberta, Canada, Zone 3, geodesic dome, 4-season growing, outdoor gardening, perennials, annuals, pest control. What else do we have in the future? Native herbs and plants, foraging. Oh, just so much. Like right now, we're currently homeschooling and we're going more on, I guess, the nature / farm school aspect. So yeah, we're just very much immersing ourselves in all of that as well. And we're learning. So if you're interested in that type of content, so smash that like, hit the subscribe button and the notification button. Leave us a comment about maybe what you like about the videos, what you'd like to see future. If you don't like, whatever, leave a comment. It helps. We don't care. So we're learning. If you're interested in learning and you're interested in all of the above, and like I said, growing in Zone 3, climate is specifically Alberta, Canada, follow along. And don't forget to go down below, check out some of the links. Currently sitting in the geodesic dome from Arctic Acres. And I believe there's five or six different sizes of domes you could purchase. So we also have a link too if you're interested in that. And we make a little bit of commission off it as well. So again, helps the channel for more homesteading, family-friendly content. Thanks for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more family fun adventures in Alberta.